Yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another episode of My Two Satoshis. It is October 2nd, 2018. Let me give a shout out to a brother from another mother in the D. Kill Skills Sauce wanted me to play Dead Press, Dirty White Girl. Thanks for the song request, brother. Hope all is well with you. What's going on, YouTube? Again, it's another day, hopefully another dollar for us. Today we got some real controversial topics or articles I'm going to take a look at. The first is an analyst has said that Bitcoin will not challenge gold as the safe haven. Thought this was very controversial and really caught my eye. I like looking at these types of articles and angles. So we're going to take a look at that and discuss that together. The second article is about EOS. Many of you may have heard that there were some claims or evidence that showed that there was collusion between many of the BPs, the top BPs, for mutually voting for each other and keeping the voting power kind of centralized. Well, we're going to take a look at that. I'm going to give you my opinions on it. It's funny because the very reason why people don't like, or the ones that are against EOS, the very reason they don't like it is the reason why this won't stay the way it is if it is true. EOS is very malleable in that nature, in that sense, where we can vote out BPs as long as we get the community behind it. And there are some other steps we can do to mitigate this type of behavior. Something that you couldn't do in a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or a Litecoin. Once those major miners get a hold of it, it's very hard to break that up, but not with EOS. We'll take a look at this, and you guys let me know your thoughts on it. But first, let's take a look at that market cap, currently around $222 billion at the time of recording. Bitcoin's dominance is at 51.32%. And we have not made any real traction, guys. It's just kind of in limbo right now. I hate these types of markets. There isn't any money being made. Matter of fact, there's money being lost if you're an active trader. So we need to see some action. Again, nothing here to really comment on. If I kind of extend this line, this trend line out as I did before, I don't know why I didn't save it the other day, but I'm just going to do it again. This is a pennant that's forming here, possibly. We can do this and then head outward. I'm going to make sure I save it this time around. But yeah, that's nothing really to cover. We're kind of in a holding pattern right now, right below 6,600, which is an area of resistance. Now that we're below it, it was an area of support when we jumped above it, but we quickly broke below that and hit that trend line again. So I'll keep an eye on it. The first article is out of CCN, and it is regarding this analyst that said that Bitcoin will not challenge gold as a safe haven asset. So wow, this is a huge call here by this equity analyst. Let's take a look at what he's saying here. He said, though many Bitcoin investors believe multi-layer scaling solutions such as the Lightning Network will eventually make Bitcoin a viable payment instrument for a proverbial coffee purchase, most argue that the flagship cryptocurrency primary short-term use case is as digital gold. However, an equity analyst at one of the world's most respected investment research firms said that he doesn't expect Bitcoin to make a noticeable dent into the yellow metals market share. Goes on to say here, writing in Morningstar's Research Services short-term investment commentary series, the Morningstar Minute, equity analysis Christoph Inton noted that if Bitcoin did begin to replace gold as a safe haven asset, it would represent a seismic shift in the investment case for precious metal, as 40% of gold demand comes from investors. He says if cryptocurrencies were to displace gold's investment case, the implications for gold prices would be devastating. 40% of gold demand relates to investment, so a shift in investment from gold to cryptocurrency would be a seismic shock. However, Inton, who has been at Morningstar since 2013, wrote that the firm has created a proprietary framework for evaluating assets as stores of value and found that cryptocurrencies does not score well on this rubric, leading him to continue recommending long-term investments in certain gold stocks, including Gold Corp. He says, in order to assess the threat, we've created a framework to grade any asset class's viability as a safe haven by focusing on liquidity, functional purpose, scarcity of supply, future demand, certainty, and permanence. Through this framework, we conclude that cryptocurrency does not and will not challenge gold as a safe haven asset class. Here's the case for digital gold. I just want you to look at this chart really quickly. That red line there is gold. That blue line is Bitcoin. Come on, man. That's why so many gold bugs are moving over, because they're like, man, my money has been sitting sidelines for years, a decade. Nevertheless, cryptocurrency bulls maintain that Bitcoin does have a solid investment thesis as digital gold, because although it is currently quite volatile, it possesses many of gold's attractive features, i.e. liquidity and scarcity, while also alleviating some of the drawbacks such as its lack of portability and impracticality for payments. Billionaire investor Peter Thiel, for instance, said earlier this year that he is long on Bitcoin even if it never matures as a payment instrument. I would be long Bitcoin and neutral to skeptical of just about everything else at this point, with a few possible exceptions. There will be one online equivalent to gold, and the one you'd bet on would be the biggest, he said. So this article really didn't explain to me the details about their rubric, this Morningstar analyst. Just because the 40% of demand for gold is speculative, basically, not even for actual use, doesn't mean that that can't shift. That's a reason why you would see a shift from gold to something like Bitcoin. Like if gold was, let's say, 80% utility, like industry-wide use gold, and that's why the price is where it's at. If it was up to 80%, even 70%, then you would say, yeah, okay, well, we know that as a person that's buying gold, they can't replace buying gold for hardware, equipment, or whatever the case may be. Jewelry, they can't replace that demand with Bitcoin, because you can't do that with Bitcoin. But seeing that almost 40% of volatility or price action with gold is speculative, it absolutely will steal a lot of those individuals from that market over into Bitcoin. So I think this is actually a huge plus for Bitcoin here, with that one tidbit about 40% of gold demand being from investment or speculative purposes. So what are your thoughts? I think this is definitely digital gold. It's not going to be a means of payment, as I've stated so many times before. You don't pay or use real money for purchasing things. Anything that's going to appreciate, you're not going to use on a day-to-day basis. It's just flat out simple. It wasn't always that way with Bitcoin. In the earlier days, we looked at Bitcoin as being that really fast means of transferring value, a medium of exchange. But now we see that that's not the case, for, you can call it conspiratorial reasons, or just the way the market has shifted and matured. But ultimately, that is not going to be a means of payment. Here's a really easy way to think of why Bitcoin would not be really used in wide usage. It may be used here and there for things. I could see you possibly buying larger denominated assets, dollar denominated assets like homes, art, something like that. I could see you maybe using Bitcoin, but for a cup of coffee, I don't think it's going to happen. It's almost like us going back to the barter system, because you're trading one asset for another, either asset or good or service. So it's just like me going to take a chicken, this hen, for I don't know, a gold watch or something, right? So we're trading one asset that's got some utility. That chicken, it can lay eggs, produce more chickens, or you can actually eat it for something that you can't do anything with other than consume it one time. So that's how I kind of look at Bitcoin being used, just in a digital, more up to date way. I don't think we're going to see that. I look at gold and Bitcoin as synonymous, honestly. Digital gold. You guys let me know your thoughts about that. Will Bitcoin be that asset class that replaces gold as a safe haven? I really truly think it will, especially after reading that 40% of gold demand relates to investment. I didn't even know that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about that. We can have that discussion. The next article is out of Cointelegraph, and I actually got a tweet from a gentleman regarding this. It wasn't this particular article, but about this subject. EOS developer acknowledges claims of collusion and mutual voting between nodes. It says here, block.one, the developer of blockchain protocol EOS, has published a statement on EOS public blockchain governance in an official Medium post October 1st, signed by block.one CEO Brendan Bloomer. In the statement, Bloomer states that the company is aware of some unverified claims regarding irregular block producer voting and the subsequent denials of those claims. Without providing any details on the denials of allegations, Bloomer stated that EOS will continue to ensure a free and democratic election process and vote with other holders to reinforce the integrity of this process. The statement follows a recent allegation that accused the platform's major block producers, the equivalent of miners on the Bitcoin network, including China crypto exchange Huobi, of mutually voting and collusion. The accusations began to surface last week when EOS One, which had already published a report on controversial EOS BPs this September, posted what it claims was a leaked Huobi spreadsheet in its blog on WeChat. The spreadsheet contained 4 tables with node mutual voting table and node income statement among them. As per EOS One, this could mean that main EOS nodes, including Chinese crypto exchange Huobi, the 4th BP in current producer ranking according to EOS Titan, were involved in mutual voting along with payoffs. Twitter user Maple Leaf Capital provided a detailed explanation of the internal document in English. So here's the document here, kind of showing what collusion table, if you want to call it. Per the above table, Huobi voted for 3 other BPs in exchange for significant payoffs. Maple Leaf further explains the data from the spreadsheet. Huobi votes for EOS IOG, CoChain World, and EOS Space IO EOS in exchange for 170, 150, and 50% of returns respectively. Maple Leaf further wrote that such trade-offs could increasingly compromise the integrity of the network, particularly given that at least 12 of the 21 major BPs were controlled by Chinese entities. The Twitter user further linked the alleged mutual voting with the recent promotion of Huobi Pool token, which shared tokens with users in exchange for locking their EOS on Huobi. The Chinese crypto exchange might then use those votes at their discretion, Maple Leaf concluded. All listed allegations, if confirmed, could conflict with Article 4 of the current EOS Constitution called No Vote Buying, which states the following: no member shall offer nor accept anything of value in exchange for a vote of any type, nor shall any member unduly influence the vote of another. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin said here, interesting. I mean, it was completely predictable and I did predict it, but I did not expect it to happen so thoroughly and so soon. Buterin then goes on to sneak diss EOS nodes and saying, this is why I do not believe in coin holder voted on-chain treasuries. Any chain where this is used to supposedly fund public goods can easily collapse into this kind of I vote for your crappy project, you vote for mine equilibrium. So there you have it. What do you guys think? First of all, even if this is true and nothing changes, this is still better than a situation we have with Ethereum and Bitcoin and Litecoin. I've showed you guys the site so many times. I'm gonna bring it up again. It's called Are We Decentralized Yet? And as you can see here, look at this one column: number of entities in control of more than 50% of voting mining power. Bitcoin, we've got 4, Ethereum 3, even more concentrated, XRP 2, Bitcoin Cash 3, Stellar 1, Litecoin 3, Cardano 1, and you get the picture here. So they're still more concentrated. The good thing though about EOS is that voting happens every 2 minutes or so for the BPs, and if they have done this, that is a total violation of the current constitution that's in place, and they will be eliminated or removed as a BP. There are a couple other things you can do as well. You know, you can increase the BPs to 51. You can do something like that. You can eliminate voter decay, or what I really like, and this will really eliminate it, you can implement what Telos is doing, which is a kind of a fork off of EOS. I don't know if it's a fork or a side chain or whatever you want to call it, but they use what's called inverse weighted voting. So they can easily roll that into the protocol, the EOS IO protocol, without hard forking. That's a major point I want to highlight, and then that would eliminate it. So, you know, these people, I think they're blowing this out of proportion. If it's true, and I said this to my man on Twitter, if it's true, I'm not surprised. So this is what for me, this is why you can't have a totally decentralized platform, because then you can't change it. You know, if you have all this collusion going on, it's very hard for you to move away from that or prevent that if everything is so totally decentralized as with Bitcoin, right? You have to do a hard fork and then do your, you know, redo it how you think it should be done, or the community can come to a consensus and rebalance things, but that disrupts everything. That won't work in the real world scenario. So in my opinion, it's great that you have a system like EOS where you can implement things, roll out things, as long as you have vote by the community to make changes and shifts. EOS is only 6 months old, so believe me, this is not a factor at all. It's not an issue. You guys let me know your thoughts though. What do you think? Is this an issue for EOS? This whole collusion, which is human nature. I think it's, you know, it was bound to happen for sure, like Vitalik said. However, this is not something that will be permanent. If the community saw that it was truly going to be an issue, they are going to fix this and eliminate this with no problem. Again, you guys let me know your thoughts on that. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, click that bell, share this video, all that good stuff. And that's my 2 Satoshis for today. It's your boy Crypto Blood. I'm out. Holla.
It is a social construct.